Welcome back. Buffering against pH changes in biological systems. When chemical reactions are taking place in a living system, many of the substances produced or consumed are either acids or bases. So definitely there are every chances for the pH to be altered in that system. And how the living system is efficiently managing the changes in pH. That is what we are going to see in this session. Every biological process is pH dependent. A small change in pH produces a large change in the rate of the process. Usually, there is different pH values in different parts of the cell and in different parts of the body. For example, the pH in lysosome is not the cytosolic pH. The pH in bones or blood or muscles is not the pH in our stomach. So depending upon the enzyme activities and other functioning in any part of the body, in any part of the cell, there are different pH values. And the native pH is the optimum pH. Any change from that pH value will definitely affect functioning of that part of the body. So the enzymes and many of the molecules on which they act contain ionizable groups. And whenever there is an ionizable group which contains H or OH, it has a characteristic pKa value. For example, the protonated amino groups and the carboxyl group of amino acids, the phosphate group of nucleotide, etc. act as weak acids, and their ionic state depends on the pH of the surrounding medium. And ionic interactions are stabilizing the proteins and other molecules. You have studied it earlier. These interactions are very important in stabilizing protein molecules, enzymes, etc. in their native state. And the cells maintain a specific and constant cytosolic pH. Not only cytosolic pH, pH in every compartment of the body. Even in the case of some organelles, there are different pH values on either side of a membrane. For example, mitochondria. On the inside the mitochondrion, the pH value is different on either side of the inner membrane. You will study about proton pumping, etc. in mitochondrion and also in chloroplast in the coming semesters. See, in the multicellular organisms, the pH of extracellular fluid is tightly regulated. Actually, pH in every compartment of the body, every compartment of the cell is constantly monitored and regulated. Body is achieving it by using primarily biological buffers. Buffers are mixtures of weak acids and their conjugate bases. Make a note of it. What are biological buffers? Buffers are mixtures of weak acids and their conjugate bases. As you saw earlier, this is the titration curve of acetic acid. You have seen this earlier. You have seen that at certain region of the curve, that curve is somewhat flat, which means even upon addition of small increments of bases into it, there is no noticeable change in the pH value. And in this pH region, it is acting as a buffer. In the case of acetic acid sodium acetate system, the buffering region is pH 5.76 to pH 3.76. Okay, and the pK value for this system is 4.76. Got it? And we found this slide earlier also. These are different buffer systems, and this is the buffer region, pH region. What is this one? This is ammonium ion ammonia system. The pH range is given here. pK is 9.25. This is phosphate system, dihydrogen phosphate and monohydrogen phosphate system. pK is 6.86. And this is acetic acid system. You see, for different buffers, different pH ranges are there within which they act as efficient buffers. When you are doing biochemical experiments, sometimes you will have to keep a buffer. Then you have to find out what is the optimum pH of your reaction medium. Based on that optimum pH, you have to select your buffer. That means every buffer is not effective in every reaction medium. Buffers are mixtures of weak acids and their conjugate bases. Buffers are of course aqueous systems, and protons are there, hydroxide ions or hydroxide ions are there. Buffer system consists of a proton donor and a proton acceptor. When we add a proton donor into it, that means when we add an acid into it, it will dissociate and produce the protons, and the protons are accepted by the conjugate base. On the contrary, when you are adding a base into the reaction medium, the base will act as the acceptor of protons, and by the breakdown of the acid in the medium, it will produce the necessary protons. That is the mechanism of this action. We will see it in detail. Good example, concentration of acetic acid and acetate ion at the midpoint of a titration curve, as we found earlier. Okay, we have seen all those things in the previous diagram. What's the mechanism of buffer action? See here, acetic acid is ionized into acetate ion. Into such a medium, we are adding a base. Into such a medium, we are adding a base. What's a buffer? A buffer is a system which resists change in pH. So, when a certain amount of a base is added, pH should not change. Actually, what happens, if you are adding a base into a medium, how this system resists change in pH? That base will actually accept protons. Base will accept protons from the medium. OH of the base will combine with the protons from the medium, becoming water. So, what happens ultimately there? The protons are consumed from the medium, and that proton is more produced by the hydrolysis of the acid. So, when the base is added, more of the acid is undergoing ionization, producing more of the protons. That protons are consumed by the base added, and the pH is remaining constant. On the other hand, when we are adding an acid into the medium, what happens? When we add an acid into the medium, we believe that the pH is going to decrease further. It is not going to take place because the acid we added released protons, and the protons combined with the acetate ion, the conjugate base there, and producing that unionized acid. So the whatever acid we added is actually consumed there, thereby preventing any change in pH. That is what is written here. You can just go through it. So buffering results from two reversible reaction equilibria. Equal concentration of proton donor and its conjugate proton acceptor, conjugate base, are present in that medium. Whenever H plus or OH minus is added to the buffer, it results in a small change in the ratio of the relative concentration of the weak acid and its anion. The decrease in concentration of one component of the system is balanced exactly by an increase in the other. Remember Le Chatelier principle. The sum of the buffer components does not change, only their ratio changes. And each conjugate acid base pair has a characteristic pH zone in which it is acting as an effective buffer. And that pH zone is already given in the previous graph. You have seen it earlier. And what's a titration curve? A titration curve is a graphical representation of pH of a solution during titration. On the vertical axis, we have the pH. On the horizontal axis, we have the volume of either base added or acid added, whatever we are doing. But you see here, this shape of the graph is different from the previous graph. Any doubt? You see, in this case, the graph is like this, but in this case, the shape is different. You know why? Because here we are dealing with the strong acids and strong bases. In the other cases, we were dealing with the weak acids. You see here, initial pH is acidic, which means we took an acid. Into that acid, we added a strong base. Initially, as the base is added, the pH is increasing. You can see here the increase in pH. You can see here the increasing pH. But after a certain level, at the midpoint of titration, the pH is increasing drastically. There is a sudden increase in pH. Thereafter, upon the addition of further base, there is no corresponding increase in pH, but there is increase in pH. So there is a vertical region here. This is applicable for strong acid, strong base system. In this case, we added base. In the other case, in this case, we added acid. We already took a base. Initial pH is very high for a base. Into that, we added the strong acid, and we added acid drop by drop. There is a change in the pH, but after a certain region, when we are almost reaching the midpoint of titration, there is a sudden decrease in pH, and again there is a gradual decrease in pH as we are adding acids. So this shape is applicable for strong acid, strong base titration. Remember, this cannot be used as buffer. You see, there is a sudden change in the pH at the midpoint. These strong acid, strong bases cannot be used as buffers. Yeah, this is volume of base added. Here we took a weak acid, acetic acid, and a strong base. Base is added. Initial pH was very low, and gradually the pH increased, but at a midpoint the pH increased suddenly. Why? Because we added a strong base. We cannot use it as a buffer system. Again, see here, can we use this region as a buffer system? We cannot, because there is a very sudden change in the pH. Strong acid added to weak base. And here, pH of solution, weak acid titrated against a strong base. You can see midpoint, etc. These are for illustrative purposes only. Here, weak base titrated against a strong acid. You can see this one's also, pH of the solution is changing. What about the midpoint, etc. You can see. And a simple expression relates pH, pKa and buffer concentration. We are going to Henderson-Hasselbalch equation, a very important equation for any biochemist. Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. We studied Ka is equal to concentration of protons multiplied with the concentration of salt or conjugate base divided by concentration of the acid. Why? Acid dissociation constant Ka is equal to product of concentration of products divided by product of concentration of reactants. Here, product of concentration of products divided by product of concentration of reactants. Or if you take the proton concentration here, it becomes like this. Concentration of protons is equal to dissociation constant Ka into concentration of the reactant divided by concentration of the base. This is a mathematical reorganization of the previous equation. Okay, we are going to derive Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. It is very simple for you. Now, here we brought H plus on one side. You know that minus log H plus is equal to pH. Okay, so we are going to derive that relationship. Look here, we multiply on both sides with the minus log. So minus log H plus is equal to minus log Ka into minus log concentration of acid divided by concentration of salt. But minus log H plus is equal to pH. Minus log Ka is equal to pKa. So pH is equal to pKa minus log concentration of acid divided by concentration of salt or concentration of base, whatever it is. We can change this minus sign simply by inverting this system. We invert this equation. How? pH is equal to pKa plus log concentration of base. This is actually conjugate base, concentration of conjugate base divided by concentration of the acid. This is what is called Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. pH is equal to pKa plus log concentration of proton acceptor divided by concentration of proton donor. This is Henderson-Hasselbalch equation. This equation has a very important consequence. Just imagine concentration of proton acceptor and the concentration of proton donor are equal. That means if this denominator is equal to numerator, then 1 is divided by the other, the answer is 1. So if this is 10, if this also is 10, when 1 is divided by the other, the value is equal. So pH is equal to pK plus log 10 by 10 is equal to 1. Log 1 is equal to 0. That means pH is equal to pKa. Look here. When the concentration of proton acceptor and proton donor are equal, pH is equal to pKa. So how do we define pKa? pKa is that pH of the solution when the concentration of the product, the concentration of the proton donor is equal to the concentration of the proton acceptor.